Go. All right, welcome to McKelvey's Daily Bible. We've had quite a bit of technical difficulties, and so hopefully this time it goes a lot better than last. Um, all right, so the whole plan of this is we're trying to get through. We're going to try and read the Bible in 1 year, and I was going to read to my kids, but I wanted everybody else to be able to have the chance to enjoy it with us. And maybe you guys don't have the time to read on your own, and it'd be like 10, 30 minutes. You know, we're doing about a couple of chapters a day, every day about 7 o'clock. So you guys know this, and then they know this, so we can be ready. You got to forgive me, I'm a little bit nervous trying to do all this and make sure nothing gets messed up, and also you have to forgive me, there's some names that I cannot pronounce, and so should you be there as well. Alright, so today we're going to do Genesis 1 through 3. So, alright. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless. I guess I should have introduced everybody. Sorry. We got Caden, Connor, Carly, and Colin, and I'm Tyler. Sorry. Maybe the second video would be a lot better. Sorry. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was formless, empty, and darkness covered the deep waters. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw that the light was good. Then he separated light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness night. And evening passed, and morning came, marking the first day. And God said, "Let there be space between the waters to separate the waters of the heavens from the waters of the earth." And that is what happened. God made this space to separate the waters of the earth from the waters of the heavens. God called this space sky. And evening passed, and morning came, marking the second day. And God said, "Let the waters beneath the sky flow together in one place, so the dry ground may appear." And that is what happened. And God called the dry ground land, and the waters seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, "Let the land sprout with vegetation, every sort of seed-bearing plant, and trees that grow seed-bearing fruit. Let the seeds then produce the kinds of plants and trees from which they came." And that is what happened. The land produced vegetation, all sorts of seed-bearing plants and trees with seed-bearing fruit. Their seeds produced plants and trees of the same kind. And God saw that it was good. And evening passed, and morning came, marking the third day. And God said, "Let lights appear in the sky to separate the day from the night. Let them be signs to mark the seasons, days, and years. Let these lights in the sky shine down on the earth." And that is what happened. God made two great lights, the larger one to govern the day, and the smaller one to govern the night. And he also made the stars. God set these lights in the sky to light the earth, to govern the day and the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And evening passed, and morning came, marking the fourth day. And God said, "Let the waters swarm with fish and other life. Let the skies be filled with birds of every kind." So God created great sea creatures, and every living thing that scurries and swarms in the water, and every sort of bird producing offsprings of the same kind. And God saw that it was good. Then God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply. Let the fish fill the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth." And evening passed, and morning came, marking the fifth day. You all right there? Yeah. And God said, "Let the earth produce every sort of animal, each producing offspring of the same kind. Livestock, small animals that scurry along the ground, and wild animals." And that is what happened. Ooh, sorry about that, guys. God made all sorts of wild animals, livestock, and small animals, each able to produce offspring of the same kind. And God saw that it was good. And God said, "Let us make human beings in our..." Cat. Then God said, "Let us make human beings in our image, to be like us. They will reign over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, the livestock, all the wild animals on the earth, and the small animals that scurry along the ground." So God created human beings in His own image. In the image of God, He created them. Male and female, He created them. Then God blessed them and said, "Be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and govern it. Reign over the sea, reign over the fish in the sea, and the birds in the sky, and all the animals that scurry along the ground." Then God said, "Look, I have given you every seed-bearing plant throughout the earth, and all the fruit trees for your food. And I have given every green plant as food for all the wild animals, the birds in the sky, and the small animals that scurry along the ground, everything that has life." And that is what happened. Then God looked over all that He had made, and saw that it was very good. And evening passed, and morning came, marking the sixth day. Chapter 2. So the creation of heavens and the earth and everything in them was completed. On the seventh day God had finished His work of creation, so He rested from all of His work. And God blessed the seventh day, declaring it holy, because it was the day when He rested from all of His work of creation. This is the account This is the account of the creation of the heavens and the earth. When the Lord God made the earth and the heavens, neither wild plants nor grains were growing on the earth. For the Lord God had not yet sent rain to water the earth, and there was no people to cultivate the soil. Instead, springs came up from the ground and watered the land. Then the Lord God formed the man from the dust of the ground. He breathed the breath of life into the man's nostrils, and the man became a living person. Then the Lord God planted a garden in Eden in the east, and there He placed the man He made. The Lord God made all sorts of trees grow up from the ground, trees that were beautiful, that produced delicious fruit. In the middle of the garden He placed the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. A river flowed from the land of Eden, watering the garden. Then that river divided into 4 more rivers. Okay? 4 branches. The first branch, the first river there, split off, called Pishon, flowed around the entire land of Havilah, where gold is found. The gold of that land is exceptionally pure. Aromatic resin and onyx stone are also found there. The second branch, called Gihon, flowed around the entire of Cush. The third branch, called the Tigris, flowed east of the land of Ashur, and the fourth branch is called the Euphrates. The Lord God placed the man in the Garden of Eden to tend and watch over it. But the Lord God warned him, "You may freely eat the fruit of every tree in the garden, except the tree of knowledge of good and evil. If you eat its fruits, you are sure to die." The Lord God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper who is just right for him." So the Lord God formed from the ground all the wild animals and all the birds of the sky. He brought them to the man, and to see what he would call them. And the man chose a name for each one. He gave names to all the livestock, all the birds of the sky, and all the wild animals. But still, there was no helper just right for him. So the Lord God caused the man to fall into a deep sleep. The While the man slept, the Lord God took out one of the man's ribs and closed up the opening. Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib, and he brought her to the man. "At last!" the man exclaimed. "This is bone from my bone, and flesh from my flesh. She will be called woman, because she was taken from man." This explains why man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united into one. Now the man and his wife were both naked, but they felt no shame. Chapter 3. The serpent was the shrewdest of all wild animals the Lord God had made. One day he asked the woman, "Did God really say you must not eat the fruit from any tree in the garden?" "Of course we may eat from the fruit of the tree in the garden," the woman replied. "It's only the fruit from the tree in the middle of the garden we're not allowed to eat. God said, you must not eat of it or touch it, or if you do, you will die." "You won't die," the serpent replied to the woman. "God knows your eyes will be open as soon as you eat it. You'll be like God, knowing both good and evil." The woman was convinced. She saw that the tree was beautiful, and its fruit looked delicious. And she wanted the wisdom it would give her. So she took some of the fruit and ate it. Then she gave some to her husband, who was also with her, and he ate it too. At that moment their eyes were open, and they suddenly felt the shame at their nakedness. So they sewed fig leaves together to cover themselves. When the cool evening breezes were blowing, the man and his wife heard the Lord God walking about in the garden. So they hid from the Lord God among the trees. The Lord God called to the man, "Where are you?" He replied, "I heard you walk in the garden, so I hid. I was afraid because I was naked." "Who told you you were naked?" the Lord God asked. "Have you eaten from the tree whose fruit I commanded you not to eat?" The man replied, "It was the woman who gave me the fruit that I ate." And then the Lord God asked the woman, "What have you done?" "The serpent deceived me," she replied. "That's why I ate." And the Lord God said to the serpent, because you have done this, you are cursed. You more than all animals, domestic and wild. You will crawl on your belly, groveling in the dust as long as you live. And I will cause hostility between you and the woman, and between your offspring and her offspring. He will strike your head, and you will strike his heel. And God said to the woman, I will sharpen the pain of your pregnancy, and in pain you will give birth. And you will desire to control your husband, but he will rule over you. He said to the man, since you listened to your wife, and you ate from the tree whose fruit I commanded you not to eat, and the ground is cursed because of you. All your life you will struggle to scratch a living from it. It will grow thorns and thistles for you, though you will eat of its grains. By the sweat of your brow you will have food to eat, until you return to the ground from which you were made. For you were made from dust, and dust you will return. And the man, Adam, named his wife Eve, because she would be the mother of all who lived. And the Lord God made clothing from animal skin for Adam and his wife. Right there, that's the very first sacrifice in the Bible. That God had to kill animals for their skin, to cover their shame, to cover their sin. And then from there, sacrifice keeps going. Then the Lord God said, look, the human beings have become like us, knowing both good and evil. What if they reach out, take the fruit from the tree of life and eat it? Then they will live forever. So the Lord God banished them from the Garden of Eden, and he sent Adam out to cultivate the ground from which he had made. After sending them out, the Lord God stationed mighty cherubs to the east of the Garden of Eden, and he placed a flaming sword that flashed back and forth to guard the way of the tree of life. That's the end of our reading there.
I have 2 questions.
What's up?
So my first question is, what kind of animal is the serpent they were saying he was?
Huh?
What kind of serpent was, what kind of animal was the serpent?
A serpent, well, throughout time, the serpent's always been portrayed as a snake. I mean, but it's probably a very big snake. The serpent, I mean, but the thing is, though, it wasn't until after that sin did he start crawling on his belly.
So what, did they have
Okay.
like legs
So,
and arms?
possibly, that could be
Like
it.
a lizard?
There's no actual description of what a serpent looks like. We just know that now he's got to crawl on his belly for the rest of his life.
Okay, so
I think it was like a
And then
lizard.
earlier you had a question about cavemen, and I wanted to bring that up. Imagine this. Okay, so you're in paradise. Everything's taken care of for you. Okay? God took care of you, your food, your shelter. I mean, you didn't even need clothes. Okay? I mean, you ran around naked and free, and you didn't care. Okay? And then that sin ended up happening. Now you're kicked out of that. Okay? Now you're out on your own, out in this wilderness. Now you have to fend for yourself. Now you have to find shelter, food, clothes. Okay? All because they didn't trust in God. And it's just like, you had a question about earlier about the trees. Like, why would God just put those trees there and then tell them not to? Well, it's just like you guys. I have stuff that I tell you not to touch, but you go off and touch it anyways. It's that child mindset. Okay? Adam and Eve, they didn't just grow up through experience. I mean, they were made. So they had that childlike mentality. Okay? And just like any other child, they defy their parents and test their parents. God wanted them to only just trust and rely on God and God only, and not put things into not try to make their own decisions in life, to allow God to take control. And that was the whole point. But now they had to find shelter, so probably close was mountains around. So yeah, they're your first cavemen to hide themselves away from the storms and the rains and all that stuff. And so yeah, we had cavemen, and that was probably the first ones there. Okay, anybody who lives in a cave is a caveman.
Okay, so my second question is, people are saying that women have one more bone than men. Is that true?
The last I heard, I thought that was true, but I don't know for a fact. What?
I think
Scientists, I heard someone talk about that. I said something, and they said that that the scientists have went into it, and that girls have the same ribs as guys.
I was just gonna say, if God made Eve's body out of a man and just took one out of him, that just basically makes them even, because that's part of her age.
Yeah, because originally the actual human had a full set of ribs, so then because he just took that one out, so he's the only one who had 9 ribs.
I have no idea how many ribs we have. Okay,
Either.
so any other questions about what we just read? Alright, so as of now, we're going to try and shoot for tomorrow at 7 o'clock, as long as nothing else fails. Come on. Boys will be boys, right?
Hey,
Anyways,
You will be him.
I
Sorry, pig.
all right. You guys have a wonderful night, and God bless. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
Good night.